Atop an officer's taser, the camera recorded Sheldon Halleck jaywalking in Honolulu, Hawaii. The taser fired, Halleck fell to the ground.
It was just a real nightmare.
An hour or so later in southern Utah, a phone rang.
And the doctor told me, she says, that your son was involved in a ruckus and that he was pepper sprayed and tased, and he is now, unfortunately, on life support with no brain activity.
In 4 hours, the doctors told them the hospital would stop life support.
And then we had to figure out how we were going to get to Hawaii from here.
Verdell and William Halleck knew it was a task nearly 3,000 miles would never let them fulfill.
Can you just wait? We're here in Utah. We're going to try and get on the plane as quick as possible.
It was a race to get there, but we were never going to make it in time.
The family sued. At trial, the officer's defense relied on a term so foreign, Verdell had to Google it.
So when it came out, that term, I researched it on the internet, and I was like, I've never heard of this. Where has this term been all these years?
Excessive force didn't kill their son. Excited delirium did. Trial transcripts show an emergency physician told the jury Sheldon Halleck showed all of its classic symptoms: agitation, imperviousness to pain, superhuman strength.
So I'm like, I don't believe this, you know.
But the jury did, with the help of an assurance by the ER doctor that the American College of Emergency Physicians, or ACEP, had identified excited delirium as a real thing in 2009. In this white paper, ACEP, and thus its nearly 40,000 members, added, yes, people can die from it.
That expert witness, she really pushed that a lot. She pushed that quite a bit.
You know, my son, he didn't die on his own.
When people suddenly die during or after restraint, our investigation found ACEP's white paper ready to come to the proverbial rescue. Like when prosecutors in Virginia cited it 6 times as they cleared all officers of any charges for the death of Linwood Lambert. The officers tased him 20 times. State prosecutors used it to help them clear Rochester, New York officers after the high-profile death of Daniel Prude. We found all sorts of court filings littered with the ACEP stamp of approval. We also found the FBI relying on it, the city of Minneapolis, the Maine and Pennsylvania health departments. When the International Association of Chiefs of Police endorsed it, it said, if ACEP believes in it, then so do we.
You know, it was a respected medical organization saying that people die from excited delirium.
Civil rights attorney Julia Sherwin says ACEP's white paper also came up in her case against the officers who got on top of Mario Gonzalez 2 years ago in Alameda, California.
And it got accepted in courts. It got accepted by the Department of Justice. And nobody really looked into how did this white paper come into being.
And so she did look into it, and so did we. And we found the white paper story begins with a pro-police organization and, of all things, an off-the-strip Vegas hotel and casino.
And they advertised that this was going to be a conference to make law enforcement and legal history, to create a consensus about excited delirium and then publish it in leading medical, legal, and law enforcement journals.
A 2008 press release shows names of participants, some with the potential for ulterior motives. Some did work defending the company that made Taser. Others ended up making money, tens of thousands per case, constantly defending law enforcement.
So this is big business.
We're no stranger to one of the speakers, Dr. Gary Vilk.
Been a long time.
He told us in 2020 he couldn't recall the last time he testified officers had done anything wrong. One of his legal competitors back then called him a hired gun. You call him a hired gun?
Well, he is a hired gun.
A year after the conference at the Orleans, Dr. Vilk and others went on to author the white paper, and a medically backed explanation was born. With pictures of Sheldon, their son, all over their house, the Hallecks tried to get an appellate court to order a retrial. Once again, ACEP's white paper showed up in a judge's response. No new trial.
We didn't get any justice.
I didn't feel we got any justice for our son.
Is it time for ACEP to acknowledge its own responsibility in keeping excited delirium alive?
I think it is.
And were it not for the actions of an ASEP member named Dr. Brooks Walsh, this story might have ended here.
To have my organization identified with such a harmful concept, I believe does harm to the credibility of our organization.
This month, at ASEP's annual conference, Dr. Walsh finally convinced ASEP's board to pass a resolution that calls the white paper outdated. Approval of this paper is now withdrawn. Excited delirium should not be used.
And I feel a responsibility to the patients who are harmed by this to try and correct that perspective.
It's a move that comes too late for families like the Hallecks, and a move that will have its first big test here in Colorado.
What's her name?
Jerica.
Jerica.
Come December, a jury in Colorado Springs will get to decide if a bungled ketamine injection killed a mother of 5. You almost certainly now know what the defense will argue. A motion filed a few months ago says an ER doctor will tell jurors Jerica LaCour had excited delirium. A conclusion he reached with the help of the now discredited, outdated, yet still highly cited 2009 ASEP white paper.
A lawmaker in Colorado has already pledged to try and prevent coroners and police officers from using excited delirium on autopsies and police reports moving forward. They did that in a direct response to our ongoing investigation.